All right, this is going to be a very unique example of using Brady's RFID system for commercial aerospace tags. So these are high mem RFID tags, and usually we're using a thermal printer to print and encode a tag, and we're done. But in this particular case, we're going to also add some additional information to the tag after we print it by using the Brady Android app that's on a MC3330R reader from Zebra. So what I have here is I have a mirror of that Android reader, and I have a bartender screen here, and I have a webcam that's pointing at a Sato printer. I'll just back up a little bit so you can see it's a Sato CL4NX, and I have some large, what Brady calls alloy tags. They're thicker. They're meant to go on metal surfaces. And you can see my previous tag was a little low, so I made an adjustment. We'll see if I actually did a halfway decent job of getting it to be in the right spot. And we're just going to go through this process in the bartender window. Hit print. And what I have set up with this tag is the ability to reference an external text file that will list all the possible part numbers and descriptions that this customer wants to be able to tag. So rather than typing things in, they can simply select from a pull down, and at any time they can edit this text file that's in the same folder as this template file, and to add new records, remove records. They control it without having to actually get into the bartender template design. So we have several forms in this manually driven form. Here I'll select a record, and you get to also select what artwork you might want to have. And there's two artworks here. There's one here and one here. I'm going to use this simpler tag with no barcode on it at all. Now, in this particular customer, they have a need to weigh their item at the time that they are tagging it. So they're going to enter a weight. They're going to define a production date, and it does default to today's date. Put in their serial number, and here I'll put in something that I know is unique. Again, pick your layer, and then I'll come back to this one in a little bit, but if you did want to change any of the default values, you would have to go one level deeper here to pick a different type of chip, or in this case, printed layer. We've already done that. So there's really no need here in this particular case to run or to change anything on this mark. So we will instead uncheck that. And in doing so, this is going to go straight down to the printer. So we'll click next. This should pop up, sending it down, and you can see up here, here's our screen. And let's see if I actually did succeed in getting it to go a little bit further up. Not really, but it's not relevant at this point to what I want to show. If I take the Brady reader, which is this particular item, right? I'm running this app, and I'm just going to read this tag that's on here. So you'll see what I'm doing as I clicked on the read button. I'm going to hold my reader up to this tag, and I'm going to click read. And you'll see I can see here that this is serial number ending in -30. That's the one I just did, so I'm going to highlight it. I'll hit next. And as it reads the tag, there we go. You'll see all 4 records on here. At the current point, I don't have any part history. I don't have a scratch pad. And there we go. I have a birth and a current. So I'm going to hit part history, and I'll hit add. And this is kind of an interesting change I've done to this custom menu here I put in the Android app. There are 4 sub-assemblies to this assembly that's being tagged. And Boeing has made a request to input the serial number, part number, data manufacturer type information for these subcomponents as comments in part history records that are on the main tag. So the way that we do that is I created a form for each one of those records. And instead, you could actually just go in and start typing the stuff here. But you can see that this particular reader has got some rather small keys. You don't really want to necessarily have to do that kind of manual entry. So instead, back in the bartender program, the same template that created this, I can go ahead and just hit preview because I don't plan to print anything this time. But I can go in, and on this first screen, I can click that checkbox. And what that'll do is it'll bring me to this screen, and now I can select whatever subcomponent I want and change any of these parameters. And okay, so continuing here, we're going to select one of these components at a time. We'll go through the entire set and add these part history records to the tag with this handheld reader. You can go in here and change things. They have pull down menus for most things. This is data manufacturer. You might find that it's, it's something that you're supplying. So it probably was created, let's say, last year. So we'll go with something like that. And date of pressure testing, that should also be on the nameplate for that subcomponent. This is a reservoir. All right, so when you make these changes here, notice that the barcode changes, right? And as the barcode changes, you can now scan that. So I'm just going to scan this right off of the screen, right? You're just going to see that I'm going to scan it right off of the screen. And as it does, you can see that I've got the form changes here, right? And shows those updates. So you can just scan to fill out the form. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to push this reader back up here, and we'll hit the next button, and it will write to that tag, right? And when it's done writing to the tag, it'll say success, and then it'll read the full thing again just to validate that it's really there. So we'll say okay, and it'll read the full tag again, right? And now we have a part history record in there. Cool. Now we're going to go ahead and add another one. We're just going to repeat the process. So I'm going to hit add. And this time I'll hit battery. And I'll come over here, select battery, change whatever this is for a serial number, data manufacturer, let's just whatever. And now I will, sorry, you have to also hit other for each one of these. Now I'll scan this on the screen. And it changes these items. There's the battery pack, there's the lot, there's the data manufacturer. Did I have the serial number in there? I apparently don't have a serial number. Oh, it's a lot number. That's correct. It's a lot number. Yep, and there it is. And now I'll hold my reader back up to the tag, and I will hit next. And it's going to go through this process once again of encoding this tag. Now you can take the tag off of the printer if you want and do it that way. I'm just using the metal backing to maybe get a little bit better signal on it as I encode the tag. Now let's go ahead and go to part history, and you'll see now that I actually have a plus sign here, which allows me to go through this list of part history records. You can see I've added 2. Now let's go ahead and we'll finish it up with the other 2, and then we'll be done. So take that off, hit add, survival kit 1, sure, gotta hit other, and I'll scan this guy. Let's check and make sure the expiration date came through. There it is. And you can see that a lot of these things are gray in the bartender menu because they're defaults, they're static. The user themselves cannot change them. The only thing they can change are the things that are temporal, right? Things they should be getting from the nameplate of the subassembly. Hold my markup here, my reader up there again, hit next. These are high memory tags, but you can see the write process is actually reasonably fast. It's just that you have to repeat this each time. Whoops. I probably had an issue with holding it too close. If I hit next, and let's see if it actually wrote that last one. If I put this up, there's a reservoir, there's a battery, there's the first survival kit. I will hit add, and we will add this last one here. Here's my form. Here's my kit. I'm going to scan it. Fills out my form. Really not much to change there. I'll hit next. Okay. And now as it reads the whole thing, we'll come back into the part history record and we'll prove that we actually do have 4 individual part history records that are part of this tag. So there's my original birth record from the thermal printer. Same thing with the current data. Scratch pad was always empty. Part history record there, I'll scroll up so you can see the name of the item. There's the reservoir. There's the battery. There's the first kit. There's the second kit. Okay. I'll scroll up so you can see that a little bit better. See the part number changes slightly between the two. So I have 4 part history records that have now been created for this tag. It's been secured, locked. It's all done. And you can remove it and put it on the part. And that's how that works.